on this very wonderful Wednesday. This is The Polity, and we are broadcasting live from the nation's capital of Abuja. Welcome to KAFTAN Television. We sincerely apologize for the little delay. It's due to the adjustment we are doing right here in the studio. So welcome. Today, we want to bring you to the information in public space, which you're already aware. Some of you have read it on social media. You've also seen it on the dailies about the new development about the deregistration of some parties that were, given by Federal High Court some few months back. And now yesterday, there's, call it victory on the part of those parties, talking about ADC, Accord, some other 3 other parties who are involved in this. And so that is what we want to be discussing today on The Polity. We want to talk to, I'll be having 2 guests. One is a media practitioner and one is a legal practitioner. We'll be dissecting the matters and look at some of the issues in our polity today. So you are also part of it, just as usual. That you know how we do it on KAFTAN Television, where every one of us are involved in this matter of nation building. So you are also welcome to the program today. My name is Matthew Obisheson, and I'm your host on The Polity today. So quickly we'll dive into some of the development of the issues that we have at hand. The legal battle over the survivor of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Accord Party, Action Alliance, AA, Action People Party, APP, and Zenith Labour Party, ZLP, began with a suit seeking their deregistration over alleged failure to meet constitutional electoral performance requirements. On June 15, 2026, the Federal High Court in Abuja ordered INEC to deregister the 5 political parties and bar them from participating in subsequent elections, including the 2027 general elections. The parties challenged the decision at the Court of Appeal, which initially stayed the execution of the judgment. After hearing the substantive appeals, the appellate court served judgment on July 14th. Then on July 28, 2026, a 3-member panel of the Court of Appeal, led by Justice Haba Mohammed, set aside the Federal High Court judgments. The appellate court held that the lower court wrongly assumed jurisdiction over an incompetent suit filed by a non-juristic entity, and therefore there was no valid legal basis for the deregistration order. The ruling removes the immediate threat of deregistration arising from the Federal High Court judgment and gives the 5 political parties a significant legal boost ahead of the 2027 general elections. Now, those are the things we'll be looking at today on The Polity. And you've been seeing what is happening in the camp of ADC, their presidential candidate, talking about Abubakar, the former vice president, has been saying a lot about this. He has been saying this is victory also for democracy. And there's some other party, like you have Accord. Like some of you know that Accord in Osun State now has a governor who recently defected from PDP, to Accord Party. And many people were saying, oh, how could a governor, who will be having election in a few months, will move, just in a few months to election to Accord, which of course many people feel is not very vibrant in terms of political participation in Nigeria, or in terms of viability of candidacy. But the governor is there in Accord, and now this is a victory for him. At least he's very much assured now that his election will go on in August this year, which is next month. So Osun will be having the election, and the ADC also, which of course many people have been looking at what is going to happen next. Perhaps if they have not got this judgment yesterday, of course they've been in the midst of this confusion. Will they continue into 2027, or with the Court of Appeal continue with whatever has happened in Federal High Court? These were some of the confusions that many Nigerians were looking at. So we're all awaiting that judgment yesterday, And yesterday we had a judgment that says that no, this party should continue, and right now they have come to stay at the moment. So that is some of the things we'll be looking at today on the polity. And so you also at the right time, you'll be invited to come in and then have your say on the show as we proceed. So this is our discussion. This is like a summary of what we're going to be discussing today. So, and here with me I have a guest right in the studio who is a media practitioner, Ochiaka Ogo. He joins me to discuss this further. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and good afternoon, Nigerians.
Okay, so you are a media practitioner. You are blessed with some of this information already. You know what has been happening to oppositions in Nigeria, especially when you talk about the main opposition. You talk about NDC, you talk about ADC now. Now, when this news broke yesterday, the appeal court has finally set aside the previous judgment which was from the Federal High Court. What was your first impression about it?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me in the first place, and I will never remain grateful for the development and political recompose. Because for quite a long time now, political space has been shrinking over a lot of maybe litigation in this court and making Nigerians even to lose interest in the democratic process. It is not only victory for ADC or to politicians, but also to every Nigerian who desires freedom, because freedom exists in the multiple of choice. They are now giving Nigeria the leverage to choose between this person and the other person. For ADC, and I salute the courage of the justices of the appellate court, led by Justice Abba Mohammed, for giving this landmark judgment. And I will tell you that in the time to come, this will serve as a watershed in the history of our judiciary. And it shows that the court is still the last work of a common man. And again, that the constitutional democracy can only be guaranteed by the court. So you can see the development, and also how Nigerians now welcomed it, because now we are now opening the civic space. People will now be able to choose between white and red. It has become a thing of concern that the court will just maybe through a judgment make a political party dormant, and before you know it, there will be no activity, and only one party will be thriving. For crying out loud, we are not in a one-party state. Our democracy is a multi-democracy with that encourages participation. Yeah, so, but you can see what is the development has been. The other time it happened to NDC, this time ADC. But I thank God, and I thank God that a new thing is a new normal is coming to be, and I pray judiciary for that, and I salute the courage of the justices that deliver this.
Now, looking at the judgment from appeal court,
yes.
If you see some of if you are reading, if you read some of these things that were released, yes, you will discover that the judge actually faulted the previous judgment from the Federal High Court.
Yes.
Now, why do you think, as a media practitioner that you've been following some of these stories, yes, why do you think that we have this conflicting judgment? Because one of the fault in the Federal High Court judge by the appeal court mentioned is that there was a substantial order, yes, even before the Federal High Court went ahead and pronounced his judgment. Yes. And so, why do you think in this, at this time, we continue to have some conflicting judgment from different parts, different angle of our courts in Nigeria?
Well, they say that law is an art. It depends on how the presiding judge sees the case, and also how the lawyers argued that matter. For me, I'm a journalist, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a judge, and I cannot maybe control their reasoning. They know how they do it. But I will just say that I think it is time that we harmonize certain things in our judicial system. A lot of things are not just right. What is the locus of those people that took the case to court? That is, they styled themselves as national former
legislators.
Yeah, these are people, I can say, politicians who are idle. and they just...
And the court has actually said so, that they don't even have this local standing.
So why should you even entertain that case in the first place, coming from them? So I now ask, what is happening? I think NJC need to do a lot of things. They are getting by, at least in terms of this disciplinary action. They really need to do that, because if we get the judiciary right, I'm telling you, the country will be in a dilemma.
Some people have said that, you know, our election these days, in fact, if you look at this, you know, conflicting judgment, or even what led to this, INEC was empowered by Constitution. If you look at that section 225A, INEC, you know, is explicitly, explained there how INEC can go ahead with the registration of political parties. Some have said these are functions for INEC, not even a suit from an individual or from an institution. So many people are saying, look, does it mean INEC have decided not to go ahead with this? And if you also look at the history, INEC actually has countered this argument that these parties actually have certain, you know, courts that have been able to meet up with the constitution, and that's why they've not gone ahead about their registration. Now, what have you to say about those who say, look, INEC ought to be the one to even go ahead? Because the truth is this: there are so many political parties that if INEC wants to go ahead with the registration, some political party would have been deregistered. So, are you of the opinion also that INEC has let that, you know, that responsibility for a reason at the moment?
Yes. Let me point out this: INEC is a product of law.
Yes.
You are getting me, and they must be under the law, no matter what. Even if the law has maybe conferred with certain responsibilities, citizens can also test the veracity of it in the court of law. So for INEC to say, okay, let us now decide what the court will say, that is it. It shows that they are confirming with the rule of law, which is the standpoint of every democracy. So the fact that they gave INEC that matter is not concrete, is not stamp on, is not stamp on the stone. Or you're getting me? So most times everything, no matter what, even if sometimes people go to court to test a certain provision in the constitution. Yeah, so so it is also in order, but I will tell you that at the end of the day, all this thing will work for the betterment of our democracy.
Okay, let me bring in my second guest. I have Augustine Chinedu online to join me via Zoom. Augustine Chinedu is a legal practitioner. I don't know if he's there. If you can have him now, join me via Zoom. Welcome to the Polity. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, if you can hear me, I can see you online, so you can have your thought. Okay, welcome to the Polity. Like I had earlier introduced you, Augustine Chinedu is a legal practitioner and he joins me via Zoom. And so I want us to talk about this whole issue. You know, you are a lawyer, you follow this issue from the onset. You have seen conflicting judgment, one from Federal High Court, one from the Appeal Court just yesterday. What do you make of these judgments, you know, coming from two, you know, different hierarchy of our courts?
Well, thank you. In the first place, there is nothing like conflicting judgments here. We have one recognized judgment, which was that of the appeal courts. The one from the Federal High Court was just a mere ruling that has been found unworthy to stand in our judicial jurisprudence. The one delivered by Honorable Justice Lifu, who, contrary to the express order of the Court of Appeal that he should stay away from the proceedings in that matter, filed by the non-legal entity known as Forum of Former Legislators. In the face of that standing order by the Court of Appeal, Justice Lifu went ahead to deliver judgment in that matter. The Court of Appeal has found his action as a judicial rascality, and a brazen rascality for that matter, to undermine the powers of the Court of Appeal, who has the superior supervisory role over lower courts as that of Justice Lifu. So a judgment by the Court of Appeal is the only recognized standing judgment or ruling, and not that of Justice Lifu, who has been found to be in the habit of giving controversial judgments. That was why the Court of Appeal in their judgment described his actions as a brazen rascality, and the judicial rascality for that matter, which shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Okay,
so
now talking about...
have gone ahead to deliver judgment in the matter that the Court of Appeal has expressly given an instruction to stay proceedings in that matter. But he still went ahead just in a hurry to please his paymasters and delivered a very, very regrettable judgment in that matter, which has been thrown to the dustbin where it belongs.
Now, there have been several allegations against judiciary recently. Even as we speak now, NDC is still having judiciary issue, something relating to logo identification issue also, and this other political party and so on. So you said that there's just one judgment at the moment. Now, why I say conflicting is because we had a previous judgment that had been set aside now. Now, I want to ask you as a legal practitioner, of course, Justice Lifu has been faulted in this. Now, you as an individual are practicing judiciary, in the profession of legal profession in Nigeria. How do you look at some of the things happening in our courts today? Would you say there are some external interference in what we have in our judiciary? Because, very recently we are having this judgment going, different ways. So, are you saying that there are some, powerful hands or some external influence in what we have in judiciary of, in Nigerian judiciary today?
Of course, it can be seen even by the blind that there has been some, unjust interference in the judiciary by some persons in power who has one interest or the other in the matters before these courts. Now, looking at the 5 parties that were affected in this whole shenanigan, which are AA, Action Congress, that is where you find somebody like Sowore, because of course the troubles he has been given to the federal government, so they would want to do anything to have him, out of line. Secondly, you have APP, Actions People's Party, and the person there that is being targeted there is Honorable Kenga, the House of Rep member representing the Delta North and South Federal Constituency. You look at Accord Party, you have interested party there or person there who is Governor of Osun State, Governor Adeleke. You now also look at ADC itself, where we have most of the big boys there, and the likes of Atiku, who is also being targeted or be seen as a threat to Tinubu's, next year's election. And then we have ZLP, for whomsoever they may have interest therein. Now the question is, why are they after these political parties? And I have already mentioned the persons in these parties whom they have issues with. And it is very, very obvious. Atiku, Sowore, Honorable Kenga, Governor Adeleke of Osun State, and that of ZLP. All of these things is just to stiffen the opposition, to make them bow to their knees. Justice Lifu, unfortunately, who has in the previous matter disqualified Honorable Kenga before that of 2023 elections, has not been qualified to run for House of Rep. Even when the matter before the court were clearly internal party affairs, with visible provisions of the law, why the judiciary cannot interfere in matters that are extraordinarily that of inter-party matters affairs. But Honorable Lifu, in a bid to satisfy persons that are interested in the matter, went ahead to disqualify this young man, who of course went on appeal and had the same judgment thrown away. So obviously, from the look of things, there has been an unnecessary executive interference in the opposition parties. Because if you look at most of the judgments from our judges, you would... Okay,
I think that We lost him there, I guess, due to network. So, you heard what he was saying. He was okay. He was talking about some of the issues, in the court, that he was listing some of the issues that was some of the judgment or ruling given by Honorable Justice Lifo in the past, and trying to fault some of his antecedents and all of that. Now looking at this whole thing, in democracy, political party, you are talking about opposition, they ought to be vibrant and allowed to survive, so that the people will have choices. That is why it's democracy. Now, if we don't have those political parties to be able to, stand, as opposition to the ruling party, then we probably will not be having what is really, the real tenets of democracy, as it were. Now, what have you to say about the type of opposition we have now? Because apart from the judgment or what is going on in court, you look at NDC as an example. The presidential candidate was, he was once Labour Party candidate. That was 2023. Now he came into this race now, talking about 2026 going to 2027 election. Now he was in ADC. He was one of the people in ADC. They were having series of issues. In fact, one of it is also a court. Then he jumped into a new party just recently registered called NDC. They decided having same, judicial issue. They started having court litigations and there. Now, as I speak with you now, they are still in court. And so, what exactly is going on with the opposition political party in Nigeria?
Well, I'll begin by saying that it's a natural consequence of a young democracy like ours. There must be a lot of rancor, there must be a lot of disagreement and whatever. But I think we are spending a lot of time in the classroom. It is time we graduate and again do the right thing. Like the court, I say, should be the last hope of a common man, and also should be the legal guardian of democracy, so that whenever things are going wrong, the court will come and do their interpretation, and it will suit with the reality and also with the vibe of the time. But in a situation whereby most Nigerians are even questioning the credibility of our courts, I think it leaves much to be desired. And you can see most recently they said they built houses for them, they even increased their salary. And Nigerians were asking, what motivated this? What is the relationship between the executive and also the judiciary? That in itself, is it even right? Because we have NJC. Yes. And so judiciary is also a separate independent arm of government. Yes. Now, is that supposed to be that the an appointee of the executive can brazenly build house for judges?
Let me tell you, in a developed world, or where I can say integrity is the order of the day, most of them will reject that gift immediately and tell them to their face that no, we are a separate.
Just hold your thought. Let me. I understand that Augustine Chinedu is back online. Now, if you hear me, I want us to talk about this. Let's go deeper into this issue. Some of the issues that even brought about this deregistration in the first place. One of it, according to Section 225A, that talking about some of the ways political parties can be deregistered, is that a party may also be deregistered if it fails to win at least one elective position at any level, such as a seat in the National Assembly, State House of Assembly, World Councillorship, or local government council. Now, do you think that these parties that we're talking about, these 5 parties that we're talking about, do you think, according to some of the things you've seen as a legal practitioner, that they actually met the constitutional requirement not to have been deregistered?
Well, in a very simple sentence, going by the judgment delivered by the appeal courts, the Court of Appeal simply held that Section 225A of the Constitution of 1999 as amended, which was one of the grounds before the law courts asking for these parties to be registered. The Court of Appeal simply held that the evidence before it showed that these parties are in compliance with Section 225A of the Constitution. That was why their case had no merit at all. That was why they were simply described as meddlesome interlopers and busybodies who has nothing doing but to go about looking for loopholes to be recognized by force. So that section were clearly met by these parties as held by the Court of Appeal, which Honorable Justice Lifu, unfortunately, intentionally paid deaf ears and blind eyes to. Because when you are in a hurry to, do something that is not within the ambit of the law, you'll be blind yourself to even the written laws, even right to your faces. So, in a nutshell, that section we are fully complied by these parties, and that was why they cannot be registered according to the Court of Appeal. It's as simple as that.
So now you have just made it clear that they complied with they meet the constitutional requirement to remain relevant in Nigeria as political party, and so they go ahead with preparation regarding general election 2027. And like we have an election coming up in Osun State, and one of the party now is involved, a court party, even though the party has declared to Osun State that they are solidly behind the president for his re-election in 2025. We also have one of these presidential candidates who has been a controversial person in the media. He has been having one case of the court case, back and forth. I'm talking about Moyele Sowore. He belongs to Alliance. He's one of the party, and then we have ADC. What do you think about ADC as an opposition in Nigeria? When you look at ADC and you look at NDC today, we have former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as their presidential candidate for ADC, and then we have NDC, who is still in court anyway, having Peter Obi as his presidential candidate. Now, if you look at these political parties we have in Nigeria, this opposition, which one can you really say that this is a major or the main opposition, or can you rate them to be playing the right role, as it were, as a political party, in position of opposition in Nigeria?
All right. Regarding ADC and NDC, talking about the stronger opposition. Now, between these two parties, there are two significant figures in these two parties. That of ADC is Atiku Abubakar, and that of NDC is Mr. Peter Obi. Now, when ADC was formed, it was with the intention to form a formidable opposition, a strong united front that is capable of giving a run against President Tinubu. Now, all the big political heads that matters in the country were in this party. And the intention of most Nigerians were that the flag bearer of that party shall be Mr. Peter Obi. But quite sadly and very unfortunately, Atiku Abubakar, who by his right as a citizen has the right to contest, to vote and be voted for, still shown interest in running for presidency of the country. And Mr. Peter Obi could clearly see that his interest in that ADC is not being protected. And the biggest threat he had there was Atiku Abubakar, who is so desperate to becoming the president of this country. And that is why I want to respectfully beg Alhaji Atiku Abubakar at this point in time, joining my voice with millions of Nigerians, to please plead with him, sir, with all due respect to fundamental rights and the right to vote and be voted for, it would be doing Nigerians the biggest favor of their lives if he could respectfully step aside and throw his weight and his structures behind Mr. Peter Obi if he really wants Nigerians to move forward, if he actually wants the interests of Nigerians.
But you know, right he has said that he has said it clearly that he's not going to step. If you can hear me, he has said it clearly that he's not ready to step down for any candidate, you know, for 2027 election. And he said also clearly that 2027, you know, presidential election will be his last attempt. Also looking at his age, of course, you agree with him that, you know, after 2027, I doubt he will be able to vie for that office again. And this is like his life ambition. If you look at, you know, since he left power since 2007, he's been consistent in terms of this, you know, trying to get, he's been so consistent. He has spent a lot of money. He has mobilized people. He has done a whole lot to be able to get, he has always gotten the ticket anyway. But, you know, the battle has been for him to win the presidential you know, election. So when you are saying he should do this, you are simply saying that he should let go of his lifetime ambition. Is that what it is?
Letting go of a lifetime ambition is different from actually being patriotic. Let him not be like Tinubu, who only wants to have that title GCFR without nothing to show for it. If this is going to be his last lap in the politics, he's supposed to ensure that it is being utilized to the best of the interest of Nigerians. He could see for himself that the battle has changed. He knows exactly where the people's voices lies. As an elderly man that he is, which should be across all elderly people, that when you come of age, all that you should be doing at that point in time is to unite, to reconcile, to sacrifice, to build whatever you may have contributed directly or indirectly, you know, that did not go well. So, because if he insists to go ahead with this election, one thing is clear, he will not win. It's not about wishing him bad luck. He will not just win.
That's your, according to you, I mean, your personal opinion.
Yes. Yes, and he will not. And that would be his last appearance in the politics. Now, the question still remains.
But who do you have to blame? Who are you going to blame with some of the things happening in this opposition political party? Because if you look at what the ruling party are saying, they've said, look, we are not even the one. We are not interfering in the affairs of opposition party. Opposition party, of course, the president said, I'm not going to, you know, I won't be the one to help them put the house together. If they can, you know, put their own house together, then, I mean, it is for my own good. Now, of course, anybody wants to agree with that as well, that if the opposition party cannot unite together, just like you have rightly said earlier on, that the idea of ADC was for this party to come together, form a kind of a coalition, you know, amalgamate some of these parties, and then be able to front a particular candidate who will stand as an, you know, a formidable opposition to the ruling party. But as it stands today, you know, it's just like what we had in 2023. It's the same scenario we are seeing going forward to 2027. Now, do you even think that what we have now, because it's just, to me, seems like, you know, dividing houses, trying to divide their vote as usual, is that not what they're going to, you know, is that not what you expect to see going to 2027? Or do you think with what we have in terms of configuration of NDC or ADC or any other party, do you expect any other, you know, do you think any other thing will, you know, happen differently from the previous result we've had? Talking about the example of 2023.
Right. From the look of things, having President Tinubu from APC, Atiku from ADC, P2B from NDC, and then maybe other parties like PDP, you should not be deceived that the APC are very much happy with the way things are going with opposition parties. Tinubu himself has said it from his own mouth that he is happy with the way that are being scattered on live television. Chief of Staff too have expressly told an ally of his who is in ADC to scatter them, because he cannot just watch and allow people from outside to come and destroy what he built and all of those things. So APC indirectly or directly has hands in seeing that opposition parties are not united. They have been implanting impostors, creating factions here and there, just to ensure the instability of opposition parties. It happened in LP. LP that was nowhere to be found, nowhere to be heard of, until P2B joined the party. Now, because he was still going to recontest again, they implanted an impostor, destabilized the party. Since P2B left LP, it has disappeared. Nobody hear of LP again, because the main arrowhead there is now gone. They now carry their factional, tactics and schemings into ADC. That is why we have ADC in court now. They have not tried that nonsense with NDC, even though they have come with the issue of logo, to show you how desperate, how shameful the government could be when they use proxies to destabilize the opposition party.
Quite easy.
Yeah, because, if we don't call a spade, this is why we keep going down the drain. They would do so, they would behave in a brazen manner. They don't care about how people feel. They don't give regard to the rule of law, but they expect you, when you want to talk, you should now choose your words carefully. When they don't behave in a manner that shows that they have respect for the rule of law itself, or even the people of Nigeria. So what I see by next year is this: there is going to be 3 heavyweights in the battlefield, which mainly would be the incumbent president, Atiku, and NDC. I believe PDP is of no moment. PDP is just a child's play right now. They are not going anywhere. These are the 3 main political parties that will come into power. But then, the challenge still remains, like I said, between ADC and NDC, because they will end up splitting votes and making it, a cakewalk for Tinubu. That is why I have come again to plead with His Excellency Atiku Abubakar to see if he can, for the interest of the larger Nigerians, that he will be remembered for time immemorial, that he sacrificed his ambition for the greater good of Nigerians. That is why Jonathan is being today celebrated, because he said that his ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. And time came for him to show it, and he demonstrated it. He called Buhari before election was even announced, and, told him congratulations. That is how you know a steadfast man and a man who has the interests of Nigerians at heart. Today, Jonathan is being celebrated worldwide as a peace ambassador, having given up his ambition for the millions of Nigerians. But this is exactly what Abubakar will be remembered for, if he can sacrifice his ambition for the greater good by giving peace a chance.
But Mr. Augustine, some people will just, some people will not also argue what you just said now, that perhaps former President Goodluck Jonathan had no other choice. If you look at the way the opposition came to be prior to 2015 election, if you look at the way those parties came to be, that formed APC, the opposition was a very solid one compared to what we have now. So some have already said, some analysts have predicted, and even given analysis on how they're going to win this election squarely. And almost every Nigerian agree, as at 2020, when 2015 election held, that yes, Muhammadu Buhari of blessed memory won the election. But what we have now is completely different, that the main opposition party are divided. And so we don't have one single voice. We don't have, formidable parties coming together to chase, to go after one goal and say this is what we want. And they were pushing for this candidate to be able to, win the election. So if you are giving an example of former President Goodluck Jonathan, I think there's a whole lot of difference, compared to what we have now, or don't you think so?
Well, if President Goodluck Jonathan was power intoxicated, I'm sure he knew what he would have done to withstand and, try to change the course of things when he was challenged by APC in 2015. But because he was indeed a man of peace, he allowed the rule of law to prevail. That was why most people saw him as a weakling. People saw him as he was not being man enough. But I believe that he was looking at the interest of the larger Nigerians. Now, talking about a formidable opposition, that is why I have to appreciate somebody like Alhaji Kwankwaso, who has shielded his own sword, took the humility to align himself. His brother, Atiku Abubakar, can also see reasons, because it is not all about who is to be the president of the country right now. For crying out loud, the reason why you see P2B right now is because it's even something that is said to be the time of the South. That is why you see him in the picture right now. If it was the time of the North, I'm not sure he would want to contest, because he's a man that respects, you know, people's opinions and all the system rotation thing. You see that between Atiku Abubakar and P2B and Mr. Tinubu, Atiku is the only Northerner in the picture in this whole race. The stumbling block. So indirectly, we can say to some extent that he is working for Tinubu. And if you talk about a figure that has actually worked so hard for this election, we all know it's Mr. P2B. From the day one Tinubu assumed office, P2B has been in the limelight. P2B has been in the picture. He has been lending voices. He has been touring the nation and the world, looking for solutions to fix this country. Atiku Abubakar went to his closet and only issued statements there once in a while. But this young man, Mr. P2B, has been in the field. He has been visiting places that has been, you know, bedeviled by Boko Harams and mishaps. He has been donating money to certain organizations and institutions. He has been there. He has been working so hard. That is when you know a man who is for the people, not a man that sits in his closet and wants to be president. In all of this mishap, in all of these misfortunes that have befallen the country, President Tinubu has not even deemed it fit to grant one press conference to address the nation on certain disturbing issues. P2B has said whether he has been in his bunker, whether he's turned the Aso Rock as a bunker, even when we are not in a war, so to speak, other than domestic wars. So we need a president that will be there for the people, a president that truly means well for the people. Atiku Abubakar, with all due respect, if he will ever listen, should please, in order to give opposition a formidable, strong force, if he can collapse his structures for Mr. P2B, they will be unstoppable. There is no amount of rigging, intimidation, howsoever, that APC would deploy that would ever be a match if NDC and ADC can come together as one. The margin would be, it will be impossible to attempt to rig it. So the problem now lies between ADC and NDC. And if they cannot find a common ground to work together ahead of next year's election, it might make the case a lot easier for Tinubu, which we don't hope it happens. Okay, so in your own opinion, do you think this judgment from Appeal Court, do you think it's a victory for Nigerians or victory for ADC, Accord, or as those other three other parties, or it's a victory for judiciary? It's a victory for Nigerians. It's a victory for Nigerian democracy. It's a victory for the judiciary, because they have not only saved these parties, they have saved a lot of hopes of millions of Nigerians. Because people already know that there is a hand in the matters of these political parties, because they have some certain figures that they don't want them to ever shine or see the light of the day. So the judgment by the Court of Appeal, which was led by Honorable Justice Mohammed Abba,
Okay, I think we lost his his connection right there. So you at home also, or wherever you may be around the world, it's time for you. You can also have your say on the show. As the number will be on your screen, in a minute from now, you can call into the studio right here, and you contribute to the ongoing conversation. So I expect you to have your say anywhere you may be. I'm ready to answer your call. So I'll be expecting to receive your call right here in the studio. So I come back to you. I asked him a question.
Yes.
Just before we lost this connection, I said, this judgment by appeal court, do you classify it to be a judgment for democracy, or judgment for ADC, or judgment for judiciary?
Like I've said before now, that it is a victory for Nigerians. It is a victory for the democracy. It is a victory for progressive-minded Nigerians who would like to see a competitive election in 2027. Like I said, the political space must not be shrinked. The political space has to be opened. People should be allowed to make their choice, informed choice, and you know that freedom exists in the multiplicity of choice.
And then please hold your thoughts while we get this call. Hello? Welcome to the show. This is The Policy. Yeah, I can hear you. Your name and where you're calling from?
You're communicating with Comrade Samson Kana, calling you from Taraba, precisely local government in Kunini Ward.
Okay. Honorable Samson, you're welcome to the show. Welcome to The Policy.
Thank you very much. My brother, first and foremost, kudos go to the appeal court for giving hope to Nigerians. Because initially we thought they are not going to do the right thing. But with what I'm seeing now on the screen, we believe the judiciary are earning back their glory. And we Nigerians, these political parties, these 4 political parties, we hope and we believe they will come together, work as a team, and do away with APC, because APC, they have failed us. And our hope now is Atiku, Obi, and Konkoto. They should come together and do the homework very well, so that we should bring back the lost glory of our country. Thank you very much. And KAFTAN TV for making us alive.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. We're here for you always.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. So you were saying something,
Yes.
I'd like to know whether this judgment is for Nigerians. Now, why do I say so? NDC, that many people are talking about because of the presidential candidate who is Peter Obi, they are still in court. Now, ADC, which is the major party who got a victory now, is led by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is their presidential candidate. Yeah. Now, that's why I said, is this a victory for Nigerians, or for democracy, or for judiciary?
Like I said, it's a victory for Nigerians, because Nigerians are expecting this thing to happen. Nigerians would like to see a viable opposition in during 2027 election, and now court has now shown that they are now ready to give to provide that credible platform that will make these political parties to thrive, that will now make Nigerians to choose among the multiplicity of choices. So it's a victory to everybody, every right-thinking person, and also lovers of democracy.
Now, let's look at our political parties. If you look at even some of the issues, it's not just about this, front-line political parties that we have in Nigeria, like APC, like ADC, and any of them. Now, the major problem or challenges we are having in our election or electionary process is how to get the right candidates. Is how to have, the right people, the kind of leadership with leadership traits that is qualified to be in these elective offices. Now, can you say this is a fault of the followers, or the political elite has somehow suppressed the will of the people? Because if you look at vote buying as an example, we still have a lot of Nigerians who rather just take some stipends and then get their give vote to whoever pay them. Who should we blame in that regard?
Thank you very much. Fundamentally, let me tell you this: there's no cross ideology for political parties in Nigeria.
Ideology for clear one.
Clear cut ideology. You will see a politician leaving a political party because he did not get the ticket of this political party. Where lies their ideology? People who was in Labour Party in Britain for more than 17 years, that party was out of power. But they stayed, they kept faith with that party until that party came to power. So the issue now remains that the problem is cut across all facets of Nigerian society. We must believe in this country. We must make our electoral system to work. I keep on telling people, it's not about bringing the highest technology, but it's about the human mind. It can be manipulated. A lot of things can be manipulated in this country. But let us get that leadership that will give us a very credible election that every Nigeria will be happy with. I learned some people asking Atiku Abubakar to maybe step down. Why should somebody say that? I believe in freedom of expression. I believe in freedom of context. I'm telling you, it is the greatest disservice to the former vice president. To the individual. Yes, because he's qualified to run for that election. Except the constitution says otherwise. So why should you now stop somebody's ambition because of your own thought?
No, I think the argument some have had is that looking at the way they came together, where ADC came on board, they had Peter Obi moved in, they had the former vice president involved. And many people were thinking that they are going to front a particular candidate and everybody walk in line to ensure that that person is supported. I think that is where the real argument about whether he should step aside. Some have said based on his age and so on, that he should play the role of a statesman to support someone who is younger and all of that. Okay, now but let me make it clear. In fairness to Mr. Peter Obi, I think he's the most visible in the contemporary Nigeria politics. I give it to him. He has that grassroots appeal. He has the ordinary Nigerians appeal. But the issue is this: must you vote somebody because this person stepped aside? Why not vote a particular candidate because this candidate is the best candidate? People can still give you money, you pocket the money, and still follow your conscience. But I don't want to blame it. But the problem is I keep on telling you, is the human mind. Nigerians should come out openly and say, this is what I want. Somebody can give you something and say, okay, no problem. I will satisfy my conscience today. It has happened in many countries of this world. Look at China. China is just one party state. But look at how that country is thriving. But come to think of it, as an opposition, must you even win power? You must not win power. You can even be there to correct, to keep checking the government in power. But even as an individual, if you have solution to some of the issues that we have, if you are not in power, how do you ensure it's done? Now, you can criticize, right? You can bring about, you can suggest, some of these solutions that you think. But what if the government in place refuse to see them in from your own angle? So it means that when you are not there, you can implement some of these things that you think will be of greater benefit to the people.
No, that is true. But there is also other ways you can do that. Look at the political circle shrinking by the day. Look at APC trying to outwit other opponents by a hook or by a crook. But it shouldn't be. And that is why I said that Nigerians should now come out. Okay, look at the by-election I monitored in my state, in Enugu. I'm telling you that Nigerian youths are physically withdrawn. They're physically present but politically withdrawn. You hear some of them saying that there is no even need of going there. Even if they vote, the vote will not count. So it's a systemic apathy. It's a systemic problem. From our previous election. You're getting me? People don't even go to vote again. They say, what is in for me? Somebody even said he was paid 2,000 naira. I said, 2,000 naira, give you 2,000 naira to mortgage your conscience? He said, it's even lucky that some people were giving, after a while, they started giving people 500 naira. So you can see how bad it has become. And this is the time for Nigerian civil society groups, every Nigerians, to conscientize Nigerians that this is the time. Let us vote this candidate. If you love that candidate, go and vote that candidate. Let us get this country working. Let us not withdraw. A lot of Nigerians now want to leave the country. You know about that.
Yeah.
Japa syndrome.
I've just been told that Augustine Chinedu is back online. If you can hear me, if you can, we were on the thoughts of whether this was for this victory from the appeal court, it's a victory for democracy or for judiciary or for the for the political parties involved or for Nigerians. Now, I was asking him just before he came back online that looking at some of these things surrounding our, our electioneering process, even when we have these parties involved, we have this opposition, we have some of these parties. I want to specifically ask you, why do you think that majority of Nigerians are filtered towards, the ruling party? Why do you think that we don't have alternative that is very pronounced? For instance, as it stands today now, we don't have, apart from maybe those who defected, we don't have, parties from perhaps just opposition that are not very, loud in public space, win even local government position, or, state assembly, or even a governorship election. Why is it that we've always had a dominant party in Nigeria? Why is it so?
Yes, by virtue of being a ruling party, you should have the loudest noise, naturally. But I can also tell you at the same time that even the APC themselves, are in a very hot seat right now. Because NDC and ADC, I feel they choose to make less noise and try to, work towards the grassroots, which is where I'm going to enjoy a political party like NDC, for them to go beyond social media, go beyond the urban areas, and go far deep into the rural areas, where rigging are made so easy by the political parties, mainly the ruling party. Those interior villages, those places that seems inaccessible, those places that they will use network issues as an excuse not to upload, or where they can manipulate easily those results. The NDC opposition parties in general must wake up from their slumber, because it is not the elections of the result that happens in urban areas are the ones that really matters. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can. Please go on.
Yes. So it is the results that also happens in the interior villages, those places that are off from network, because those are the places that you can get the majority of Nigerians languishing in poverty. Those are the places that the political party or the ruling party would go and weaponize the poverty and give them even as low as 200 naira. Because these are persons that live below 200 naira as their daily livelihood. So if they could see 500 naira or 1,000 naira, they would jump at it. Just like my brother in the studio said, political parties should try to conscientize their supporters. And in so doing, it goes beyond the educated. It goes beyond those in urban areas. They should take their campaign and grassroots campaign to the interior villages across mainly the northern states, if they really want to take next election very seriously. So in a nutshell, people are hungry, and to a large extent, it has been weaponized, so that you can be able to accept that half bag of rice, not oil or a tin tomato. Now, APC are the ones making the biggest noise because they have the money, they have the populace, they are going about states, sewing clothes and giving out a whole lot of things. And because people are hungry, they will tend to just, sing your praises. But I must say at this point in time that Nigerians exactly knows where their voices lies. You might come with your bread and tea, they will take and eat, but they will still try to stand by whom they believe that will change the country. Little do you wonder, how come President Tinubu lost in Lagos State? Even Buhari, during his time, lost right there under his nose in Aso Rock. Tinubu also lost in Aso Rock and lost in Abuja in the last elections. So if the people that work under you directly can't still even be assured of their votes. It shows that Nigeria still knows what they are doing. They will take your money and they will still go for whom they believe that will deliver this country. Because if not so, Tinubu would have won Lagos State, with a landmark, would have also won Abuja, but he didn't. The man who took his first shot at the presidency swept off the majority of the votes, including that of Lagos and Abuja. So this time around, it's going to be a whole lot bigger fight, because I believe that Siraki Dixon, who is the leader of NDC, who is also a capable politician, who is also a disciplined man, who is also patriotic, will do all that is within his power to ensure that NDC do not just stay on the fence and thinking that, okay, we're happy to be, therefore we should go and sleep. No, they still have a whole lot of work to do. Because if they do not do what they should do and be very rugged and intentional about it, then APC is going to use their might and the incumbency and, take them unawares. So my worry is the internal villages, those rural areas where they have not been able to penetrate. They should be able to assemble their people, their observers, and some security personnel of their own, if possible, to ensure that the votes that will be casted at these interior places, these interior villages, that they really count. To be able to stand the intimidation of the ruling party, by all means, they should be able to have their own persons, their own observers, their own security personnel, where the Nigerian government might frustrate in giving them security of their own. These are the only way they can be able to protect the votes of the people and ensure that every single vote that is being casted for NDC especially really counts. So okay, it's not surprising that APC is everywhere right now, because the ruling parties and people are trying to pinch on any net that they can, as to see if they can grab, a kobo or two to be able to take care of that challenge. But I still believe that they still know the right candidates, they know where their faith lies. They will still collect that and they will still do what is best for their conscience. But unfortunately, Nigerian people have refused to sit up to really see the handwriting on the wall that there is no light in the president's presidency, because at this time, security issues are still overwhelming us. Some persons came on China's television and was bold enough to say that the government paid $5 billion to release the persons, the school children and teachers in Oyo State. And
that's still an alleged statement, not proven yet. Okay, so Barrister, just give us a little time. Let's go on this very quick break, and when I return, we're going to, conclude this segment of the policy today by looking at the preparation towards 2027 election. We are talking about those parties have escaped through this deregistration now. We still have one left. NDC is still in court. And then we are still talking about vote by, my guest in the studio has talked about vote apathy, that some Nigerians don't even want to go out there and cast their vote. Now, how prepared are you? You are a Nigerian, you are watching right now. So are you prepared? Do you have your PVC? Do you even vote? And so we are going to dive into this, and then we use that as concluding part of the policy today. So we'll go a very short break, and when we return, I will also give you an opportunity to call in. Our phone number will be displayed for you to have your own contribution and your say on the show. So join us again as we come back to the studio after this break. Okay, welcome back to the Polity, and just like you know, this is KAFTAN Television, and we are broadcasting live from the nation's capital of Abuja. Now, we've been talking about the registration of political parties that, you know, they're going through right now. You know, Appeal Court has saved 5 political parties, including ADC and Accord. Now, I want to also end this segment of the Polity today with you, the voters. You, the voters, how prepared are you? Why do we still have those Nigerians who sell their votes? Why? Why do you sell your vote? Why do you take certain food materials like rice, like, you know, some, we've even heard that just ordinary Maggi, you know, for Christ's sake. Some people just take one or two things and decide to, you know, dash their vote out. What is your judgment reasoning when it comes to selection of your political party, of your political leaders? Whether you're talking about presidents, governor, state assembly, member, local government, or even national assembly. What are those things you look out for that is your designing judgment reasoning to choose the right candidate? Now, your choice influences what happened to all. Once you choose the wrong candidate based on one inducement or the other, what you are saying is that you don't want a country that works. You know, so it is now in your power. Democracy is about the people, but your power is in your PVC, and until you be able to cast the right vote for the right candidate through what you can see, through the antecedent of that, you know, individual you have decided to elect, then you are saying that I know this man is going to deliver. When he doesn't deliver, how do you also ensure that this person is voted out? These are all within your prerogative power to decide. So, as I'm preparing to round up this, you know, episode of the Polity today, I want to give you another opportunity to call in. I want you to tell us also why, you know, what are the things that you think Nigerians should look out for in selection of political leaders. It is not just about complaining, it is also about you. You have the responsibility also to decide who becomes the president, who becomes the governor, who is your representative, and so on and so forth. So the number is on your screen. You can call in and let's have your own say on the show as we proceed. So I come back to you. Just like I was saying, you know, this issue of vote buy is very prevalent in our history. I mean, recently it's becoming so glaring that when people don't get to be paid, many a times they don't want to cast vote for certain people. So just hold your thought. Let me pick this call. Hello, welcome to the Polity.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from?
Comrade Samson called you back again from Taraba State.
Okay, you have the floor, comrade.
Yeah, nice having time with you this time.
Thank you so much.
I want to talk about the masses. We are the ones suffering. You talk about politicians campaigning with rice, forgetting money and other things. I'm calling on people from the grassroots to know that all those things cannot help. How can you sell your right on a spaghetti for good solid 4 years? What is spaghetti? What is cloth? We should at least think and do the right thing to help our upcoming generation. Let's go for the leaders that have Nigeria at heart.
Comrade,
yes,
you also have the responsibility to, you know, to create awareness, to educate people,
I am doing
everyone around you.
At my own leisure time and in my own terrain. But what I'm saying now is that for those that came with spaghetti and the rest of them, for the people like legal practitioner Barrister Chinedu, I like what he said, and I'm online with him because this is exactly what we want. Because you can't sell your right for good solid 5 years on material things that cannot take you anything. So it is time for us now to come down to the grassroots, create awareness, as you say, which I'm doing already.
Okay.
APC, I don't think they can deliver. They have already fumbled. Just as Barrister Chinedu said, it's only ADC and NDC. They are the opposition political party that APC, even
we have other ones also.
But I want them to come together, our leaders, let them have a solid consensus. As somebody that can deliver, we should take away, maybe I have money, I have this. No, let's bring out somebody that can deliver Nigerians. Let's vote for him and let him bring back the lost glory of our country.
Okay.
But for those who are the government now that they thought they are in power, they control money, they control everything, they have failed us. They have failed us. So I believe we need those that will come to come and deliver us in this country. Which right now we are on the pipeline, like myself now with what I saw on the screen. But Chinedu, more kudos for you. Yes, I would love to have your number if we can communicate. You are there, I'm here. We communicate with others so that we do the right thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
We will change the government, and the government that can deliver the people from.
Okay, thank you for calling. Thank you so much,
I like his optimism.
Okay, you were saying something.
I like his optimism. but let me tell you the fact I know. It's not even about political party. It's about the individual mindset. You're getting me? Just check Atiku's trajectory. I don't want to say more about that. But the problem, what worries me more is what is shaping the discourse of 2027 election. Is it unemployment? Is it energy? Is it insecurity? What are the use? What are the critical questions they're asking? I'm going to vote this particular candidate because it's going to provide electricity. You find out that none is even on the table. It's about north-south trichotomy. You're getting me? So any candidate who you can, no matter the political party, and you find out that this candidate has what it takes to deliver the goods, please go ahead and do that. Because if you look at the party critically, you find that there is no difference between this party and this. But the only thing is just the human mind.
Individuals.
Yes, we have there. But let me tell you, if we don't get it right now, we just have to pray to get a benevolent leader that will come and say, this thing must stop, just like Mao Zedong. Thank you.
But it's possible.
It's possible. In Nigeria, it's possible.
Okay. Now, Barrister, I mean, I don't know if you're still there. Okay. Welcome back. Now, he just said something, you know, as we plan to round up this episode. Now, looking at this country, I mean, looking at the voter party, looking at those who also sell their votes across board, even though now some of these parties has been, you know, they won in court. Now, but if you look at what has been happening, it has always been that the dominant party, I mean the ruling party has always been the dominant party. They win most of the, you know, the state. They win across board in most cases. Talking about the historical part of our, you know, our polity. Now, how do we also, you know, educate Nigerians that look, this selling of your votes, or not even going out to vote at all, or how do you even identify those leaders who are the right candidates? You know, rather than just say, you know, I don't want to, I mean, my vote doesn't count, I don't have to go and waste my time, or if they give me money, I will collect and then I'll just go and vote. What have you to say to those who have such negative mindset about our election process?
Well, I think the elites amongst us knows exactly, you know, who is the better evil, so to speak. What I will also say again and re-emphasize is the opposition party to really get their campaign to the grassroots in the interior villages. Selling of votes would always happen. It's all about how conscionable are you. And the hunger is another weapon that seems to be the biggest obstacle, that somebody is or has not eaten since morning, and now you're offering him 10,000. He will first and foremost tell himself, "Oh, let me even eat and survive today." Make them do the election.
I've just been told that we have just a few seconds to, you know, to end the show. So your last take on the way forward, you know, let's just say, do you agree that this is a victory? You have said so. Now, what do you think is the way forward for all of these other, you know, talking about NDC especially, that they have case in court? In just 10 seconds, please.
All I'm saying is that let Nigerians wake up from their slumber. Let them have the courage. If you are happy with the way things are in the country, then good luck. if you're not happy with the way things are and you cannot see even any light at the end of the tunnel, then you should be able to know the person who has the capacity to give you that light at the end of the tunnel.
Mohammed from Maiduguri, you have just 10 seconds.
Okay, thank you. You can hear me now?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, please, my advice to all of us as Nigerians, we should look at what is happening around the world. We should never lose sight. We should always consider Nigerians first before any other thing.
Okay.
Yoruba or Hausa, whatever, all of us, we must first of all be Nigerians before we think about any other thing. So another thing is this, my advice to people working in Abuja, especially all these people working in offices.
Unfortunately, we don't have time. Mohammed, thank you for calling. There is no time for, you have your say. Thank you so much for calling in today. That's going to be my take on the policy today. Thank you for every one of you who are viewers across the world. Thank you for all of you who have called in. Thank you for my guests. I've been joined by Ochiaka Ugu, a media practitioner. Thank you so much for being on the show today, sir. And then also my second guest has been Augustine Chinedu, is a legal practitioner, joins me via Zoom. Thank you so much, Barrister. Thank you for being on the show today. So that's going to be my take on the policy today, and I'll come your way again. We shall continue to talk about our country and hope for the better nation to emerge beginning from now. My name is Matthew Obisheson. Thank you and bye for now.